and selamat datang and welcome to today's episode where we'll make spring rolls from scratch, everything including the skin, and I'll show you how to make a really easy way to make this. Yeah, you'll need some time, yes, but I tried to shorten it as much as possible, and you can see the results. It's super great. So let's just get right straight into it. Yeah. So let's start. I've got 260 grams of flour in here, together with 1 tablespoon or slightly more than 1 tablespoon potato starch, half teaspoon or thereabouts of salt, and about 580 ml water that we're going to put in. Yeah, and I'm just going to mix it in first. Yep, this is going to take a while, so I'm trying not to put all the water in at one go. I still have an egg to put in as well, so I'm just going to try and mix it in. Yes, I used to have a stick hand mixer attachment for this, but somehow broke, so I'm just using the hand blender function, which will eventually work anyway. So I'm just going to blend and smooth this out, then we'll come back to it and add the egg. So the flour is mixed up well enough. One egg that we're just going to throw in, and then I have the oil, which I'm also going to put it in after this. 1 tablespoon of oil, no less, and then back to blending it again. So everything's in. Final blending with the egg and everything, and then we're gonna let it rest. It's starting to get really sticky. I don't know if you can see that, but at the bottom especially. So yeah, there's quite a bit of foam. We'll let it rest and let the bubbles rise out as well. So come back to it. Minimum 30 minutes to rest, as long as possible. I'll try give it 1 hour or so. So while the batter is resting and doing its thing here, we have shredded a replacement for jicama or sengkuang, and this is called kohlrabi. If you're familiar with it, you'll know it's very similar and it works great as a substitute for sengkuang. So I've got a whole bunch of kohlrabi that has been shredded today. This was a really big one, and I'm now going to fry up the ginger that was still left over from the tofu pho video, if you remember. So yeah, most people will more prefer a traditional shrimp and garlic mixture to this, but really it's up to you. I'm obviously not using shrimp, so I'm just going with ginger, and I've got that already. So I'm just going to put in the kohlrabi. You want a dry mix as much as possible, so I'm not going to add, or I'm going to try to avoid adding water to it. So yeah, just let it dry out by cooking. And yeah, I could have put in taucho if I remembered it just now, but I forgot, so we'll just add it or put a bit later and let this cook out. So I'm just going to, as I said, I'm not going to flavor it so early, especially not with salt, because I don't want the water to release. So I'm just going to cook it out to dry it as much as possible for our popiah filling. Yeah, and this obviously is a very important part to it, and I'm going to try and make enough because I have quite a lot of wrappers, so at least I think I have quite a lot of wrappers. So I'm just going to let this cook out. Yeah, and we'll come back to this when it's done a bit more. So it's been cooking for about 5-10 minutes. I'm going to put in some flavorings. I put in mushroom powder as well, so I'm just going to put some truffle oil. I've got pepper, some sugar to balance the bitterness that sometimes may occur, and no salt yet, as I said. Still trying to dry it out, so as you can see it's reduced a bit. Avoid adding liquid so you don't get a wet, mushy pow, as I know from my experience. So yeah, just let that continue cooking, and then you can add the soy sauce right at the end. So I just wanted to show this before I keep it or lay it out to rest. Everything is resting today, funnily enough. Yeah, this is after maybe about half an hour total cooking time. So you can see it's yeah, it's cooked really well. It's not wet at all, so it'll be perfect in spring roll. And yeah, you will not have issues with water seeping out generally. Although expect some liquid to drain when you rest it. So we will show that in a short while. But yeah, on to the next thing. So while that's sitting around and we're still waiting for the dough, but actually not really, it's more or less ready. I'm just going to make the sauce now. I've got some black bean or tauchion you can use. I've got some of my special homemade soup powder mix, which is not really a soup powder mix, it's just burnt flour. And I'm going to use it here because it's basically ready-made sauce or ready-made soup if you like. If you like, or your kids like those style instant soup, I can show you how to make the base flour for that. It's super easy. So let me know if you're interested in that. So I'm just going to put some water. Forgot to mention the seasoning for the kohlrabi or sengkuang was basically Maggi sauce at the end, which I probably didn't show, but as you guys, if you watch my channels, you know I don't use soy sauce. I just mostly use Maggi sauce, which saves some time for me. So yeah, the flour's in. I don't know if it's enough. I'll just give it some time to thicken up. I think it will be enough. As you can see, it's starting to form up in gel. Yes, good time to put some sauce. I mean some seasoning. And you may be wondering, why am I just cooking with spatula? Well, if you haven't realized on this channel, it's mostly I'm trying to be efficient, or in other words, lazy. That's also probably to explain why sometimes the pans are not washed. I just want to show the struggles of real with everyday cooking. Yeah, not washing each of my pans or washing each of my stuff, so I reuse everything, and I'm sure it's a struggle all of us go through, so nothing special about that. Sorry, I'm showing you my cabinet while I figure this out. And so yeah, the sauce is thickened up a bit, as you can see. I could add a bit more water. It really depends on how much you want, so just give me a second. I'm just going to add a bit more water and then put the obligatory Maggi sauce as well. But yeah, it depends on how thick you want your sauce to be. Mine sometimes has the tendency to run a bit thick. Yeah, it's always weird with me. I'm always adding water and then somehow I always end up undercompensating, overcompensating. But I think this is okay. So I'll just let it, I'll probably just leave it. And now I'll just add the Maggi sauce. That's the final seasoning, so you see it this time. And that should be okay for our sauce. So that's about it, and then we'll go on to the next one. So I just wanted to show you the end result of the sauce, and it looks super good. I don't know if you can see it. It looks great. Perfect consistency, not too thin, not too thick. That'll be nice. And in the meantime, I'm finishing up on the last parts. I also have some leftover lentil tofu from the last video as well, and I'm crisping up in the air fryer for protein. And yeah, I'm just scrambling up some eggs. Yeah, I'm lazy to do a nice little omelette strip out of it, so I'm just going with full lazy scramble mode today. In the end anyway, the kids will just sprinkle it on their spring rolls, so yeah, I'm just doing that. So I'm just going to cook this up, and then we're going to finally go to our dough. So, yeah, it's been resting for almost 2 hours, and I just poured it out, as you can see here. The batter here. I've got the crepe warmer warming up, and yeah, a lot of people may say, why not just do just the old-fashioned way? But yeah, same answer. Trying to find a faster, more efficient way, and yeah, laziness obviously plays a big part as well. I'm surprised that you need to Looking at this, you don't really need to sieve it. I blended it quite well, as you can see. I'm surprised with the results myself, honestly speaking. Obviously there is still some sediments, but I think it's mostly from the fried egg I was cooking. So yeah, the creep warmer has been warming up, so I'll give it a bit more and then we can start. It's a good sauce for warming your hand on a super cold winter morning. But yeah, let's get started. So, moment of truth. So I'm just putting it in, just set it in to make sure it's coated, and voila, that worked. I'm surprised, honestly, because as you can see, this is a super thin batter. I'm trying to make it as thin as possible, popiah skin as I can. So yeah, I'm very surprised. It works super well, as you can see. It's sticking well, it's holding well. So we're only going to cook it one side versus the previous videos where I'm turning and flipping it over. So this one, I'll only cook it one side. I'm trying to get my spatula ready. So in theory, I think, yep. Oh, look at that. Look at, okay. I should be a bit more careful with it. And yeah, it's breaking apart a bit. But yeah, I'll just let it sit properly. But yeah, that's one. Although I must say it's probably the other side. Yep, that's one. And that's food. So that's the skin done. Yeah, so let's start a new one. Yes, unfortunately, I was a bit too fast with that. Either that or my pan is a bit too non-stick. It just flew out of the pan. So that's interesting. Little hole there will patch fine. Got my little spoon for that. So that's okay. Nothing biggie. So yeah, let's go ahead and cook up a whole bunch more. But yeah, that's the skin done. And if you see any holes, just patch it up. It's not a problem. So let's come back. So a quick recap on all my toppings and everything. I've got surimi, I've got eggs, I've got the spring roll up, of course. I've got the sauce, I've got some prawns. Then I've got tofu for the crispy parts. I've got some fried onions here. And then I've got something known as bak epson or fried balls, which I'm going to do the crispy elements as well. So that's everything we have. So just wanted to show you the result. This is what we have. My wife wrapped it because obviously I'm not great at wrapping. So you can see it's super thin, you can see right through. So it's a great result for very little effort. So I would say it is a big win. Let me take a bite. Super good. So just wrapping up, as you can see, it's super easy to make, and yeah, the results are as good as what you expect. It's the small size is a bit of an issue though, but yeah, for convenience, that's the price you pay and you have to. So but yeah, that's it, and that's all for today's episode. So until then, we may make an air fried version. I'll see if I can come up with that in a short while. But until then, jumpa lagi and selamat makan. See you.